Jack never liked eating alone, but that night he had no choice. The city streets were wet with rain, glowing with the reflection of neon lights. He walked quickly, his coat pulled tight against the wind. His eyes searched for a place to sit, to eat, to forget the long and boring day at work. That was when he saw it, a restaurant he had never noticed before. The sign above the door glowed in red letters, La Noire Feast. Strange name, he thought, but the smell drifting out was warm and inviting, like roasted meat and spices. His stomach growled. Jack stepped inside. The restaurant was dim, the air thick with perfume and smoke. Soft music played from hidden speakers. The place was almost empty, only a few faces in the shadows. A tall waiter in a black suit appeared at once, his smile too wide, his eyes too sharp. "Good evening, sir," the waiter said smoothly. "Table for one?" Jack nodded. The waiter led him to a corner table covered in white cloth. The chair felt heavier than normal, like stone. Jack frowned but said nothing. He opened the menu. The menu was strange. The dishes had odd names. Some looked like jokes. Others he didn't understand. But he was hungry. At last he decided. "I'll have the steak. Medium rare." The waiter's smile widened even more. "Excellent choice, sir." "One steak." Jack leaned back and waited. He glanced around. The other diners did not talk, did not laugh. They ate silently, almost carefully. Their plates held foods Jack had never seen before, glowing, moving, twitching. He blinked. Maybe it was the light. Minutes passed. Jack drummed his fingers on the table. Then finally the waiter returned. But he was not carrying a plate. He carried a silver dome dish, large and heavy, with steam rising from under the lid. He set it down with a strange ceremony, like a priest placing a sacred offering. "Your order, sir," the waiter said. His voice was too soft, almost like a whisper. Jack smiled weakly. "Finally. I'm starving." The waiter lifted the lid. Jack froze. His smile died. It was not steak. It was not meat. It was something alive. Inside the dish lay a metal pod shaped like an egg, glowing faint blue. Thin cracks of light ran across its surface. The pod trembled as if something inside was breathing. Jack pushed his chair back. "What the hell is this?" The waiter only smiled, bowing slightly. "Your meal, sir. Special delivery." Then he stepped back, disappearing into the shadows. Jack stared at the pod. The cracks widened. A hiss of steam escaped. The top of the pod slowly peeled open with a sharp hiss. His heart pounded in his chest, and then she appeared. A girl. No older than 20. Her skin shimmered with a faint glow, pale as silver moonlight. Her eyes were large, shining like liquid stars. She was curled inside the pod, trembling. Her breath quick and shallow. Long strands of white hair spilled around her like threads of light. Jack could not move. His mind screamed that this was impossible. But she looked up at him, her eyes locking with his. She whispered, her voice shaking, "Help me, please, before they come." Jack's blood turned cold. The pod cracked fully, opening like a flower. The girl struggled to sit up. She was weak, but her hands glowed faintly, blue sparks dancing over her fingers. The lights in the restaurant flickered. Jack gasped. "What are you?" he asked, his voice breaking. The girl's eyes filled with fear. "No time, they will know I'm here. They are watching. You must take me away." Jack shook his head, confused. "Take you? Why me?" "I just wanted dinner." The girl's lips trembled. "Because they chose you, because—" "You're not like the others." Before Jack could reply, he felt it, eyes watching him. He glanced around. The other diners had stopped eating. Every single face had turned toward him. Their eyes glowed faintly in the dim light, reflecting like animal eyes in the dark. Silent. Still. The air grew heavy. The music stopped. The girl whispered again, urgent. "They are coming." Jack's chair screeched across the floor as he stood, his hands shaking. He looked toward the door. It felt a mile away. His breath came fast. "Sir?" A voice came from behind him. The waiter. His smile gone, his eyes cold. "Please sit down. Your dinner is not finished." Jack's instincts screamed at him. "Run!" The girl reached out, her glowing fingers brushing his hand. The touch was warm, electric. He felt something strange pulse through him, like a spark inside his chest. His fear twisted into a sharp need to protect her. The restaurant around him seemed to close in. The diners stood up, moving toward him slowly in silence. Their shadows stretched long on the walls. Jack grabbed the girl's arm. "We're leaving." She looked at him, desperate but hopeful. Then hurry, before the hunters come. The pod cracked further, its pieces clattering onto the floor like broken glass. Jack pulled her out, her legs unsteady, her body light as air. Together they stumbled toward the exit. The waiter's voice echoed behind them, deep and strange, no longer human. You cannot run from what you ordered. Jack pushed through the doors, the cold night air hitting him like a slap. The girl gasped, clinging to him. The city lights flickered strangely, as if the whole world had noticed her arrival. Far above, in the stormy sky, something moved, black shapes circling like predators. The girl whispered one last time, her voice almost breaking. They have found me. The night was colder than Jack remembered. His breath came out in quick white clouds as he half-dragged, half-carried the strange glowing girl through the wet streets. Rain tapped against the pavement, mixing with the sound of his pounding heart. Behind them, the restaurant door swung shut with a heavy sound. The music had stopped, the lights had gone dim, but Jack felt no comfort. He knew the danger had not ended. Something had started, something he did not understand. The girl leaned weakly against him, her hair glowing faintly like threads of silver fire. Her bare feet splashed in the puddles. She looked fragile, breakable. Yet when Jack looked into her shining eyes, he felt something powerful hiding deep inside her. They stopped under the shadow of an old bridge. Jack placed her gently on a stone step. "All right," he said, his voice shaking. "You need to explain. Who are you? What are you?" For a moment she was silent, catching her breath. Then she spoke. Her words were soft, careful, as if each one carried weight. "My name is Lyra. I am not from this world." Jack let out a harsh laugh. "Yeah, no kidding. You came out of a dinner plate," but his laugh had no joy. He rubbed his face, pacing. His mind screamed to walk away, to leave this madness behind. Yet his legs refused. Something about her, the fear in her voice, the glow in her skin, made it impossible to abandon her. Lyra's eyes met his, steady now. "I was sent here by mistake. Or maybe not mistake, maybe betrayal. I should not be here. That place, your restaurant, it is not what you think. It is a door. A door between worlds," Jack frowned. "A door, you mean, like a portal?" "Yes," she whispered. "Your people do not know, but your Earth has been a quiet meeting place for many outsiders, hidden in plain sight. Restaurants, markets, warehouses, places where humans do not look closely. They trade there, goods, weapons, even lives." Jack felt sick. "And me? Why did they serve you to me?" Her expression tightened. She hesitated, then said, "Because you were chosen. They wanted you to receive me, but not to save me. To test you." Jack's chest tightened. "Test me for what?" Before she could answer, a sound cut through the night, a low hum, mechanical, sharp. Jack's head snapped upward. Over the bridge, a black drone slid silently through the air. Its red eye scanned the street. Lyra gasped and grabbed his arm. "They are here already. We must move." Jack pulled her to her feet. "Who's they?" "The hunters," she whispered. "The ones who caught me. They work for those who feed." Jack's mind spun. Feed? On what? He didn't ask. He just ran. The drone swooped lower, its red beam slicing the rain. Jack dragged Lyra into a narrow alley. Garbage bins clattered as they stumbled through the dark path. Behind them, the drone's eye glowed brighter, following. Suddenly, Lyra stopped. She turned, her hands lifting. Blue sparks burst from her fingertips, bright against the night. The drone screeched, metal grinding, and then exploded in a shower of sparks. Jack froze. His eyes widened. I told you," Lyra said, her face pale. "I am not human." She swayed on her feet, exhausted. Jack caught her before she fell. Her glow dimmed. Jack felt her heartbeat against his arm, fast but weakening. He realized she had little strength left. Using her power hurt her. They reached an abandoned shop, windows cracked, door hanging loose. Jack pushed inside and laid her gently on the floor. The air smelled of dust and mold, but at least it was shelter. He crouched beside her. "Listen, if what you're saying is true, then I need the truth, all of it." "What are they? Who's chasing you?" Her eyes opened slowly. In the faint glow of her skin, she looked almost unreal. The hunters are not fully human. Some wear skin like yours, but inside they are something else. They serve the feast lords. They consume worlds one by one. I escaped. I was supposed to be delivered to them tonight. But instead, she touched his hand lightly. "I found you." Jack swallowed hard. His mind screamed this was too much. But deep down, some part of him believed. The restaurant, the pod, the drone, it all fit. Too strange, too real to be a dream. Why me? He asked again, his voice low. Her gaze locked on his. Because you still ask why. Because you are not blind like the others. You still see the shadows. Before Jack could answer, glass shattered above. He looked up sharply. Shadows moved outside the broken windows. Dark figures, slow and deliberate, their shapes bending wrong under the streetlights. Lyra sat up suddenly, eyes wide. They found us. Jack's heart hammered. He scanned the shop, looking for escape. The front door rattled. Heavy footsteps echoed closer. Lyra's voice trembled but was strong with warning. If they take me, your world will be lost. You must choose now. Run alone, or stand with me. The door creaked open. A tall figure stepped inside, its suit too perfect, its face too smooth, its eyes glowing faintly in the dark. Behind it, more followed, silent as shadows. Jack's breath caught. His fear screamed at him to run, but his fists clenched instead. He stood in front of Lyra, shielding her. He didn't know why. He didn't know how, but something inside him had already chosen. The hunters entered, their glowing eyes fixed on him. The air grew heavy, filled with silence and dread, and Jack whispered to himself, "Guess dinner isn't over yet." The air inside the broken shop grew heavy. Dust floated in the faint blue light that glowed from Lyra's skin. Jack stood in front of her, his fists clenched, his body tense like a cornered animal. The hunters entered slowly. Their suits looked sharp, too sharp, like skin stretched over bones. Their faces were smooth, too smooth, almost fake. Eyes glowed faint yellow in the shadows. They did not blink. The tallest one stepped forward. His voice was calm but wrong, like two voices speaking at once. "Return the specimen," he said. "Step aside, human." "She is not yours." Jack's mouth went dry. His mind screamed at him to run, but his body refused. He felt Lyra's hand on his shoulder, trembling yet steady. "She is not your food," Jack said. His voice surprised even himself. "You're not taking her." The hunters tilted their heads all at once like puppets on strings. The tall one smiled, lips stretching too wide. "You do not understand. She was delivered. She belongs to the feast. Humans do not interfere with the feast." Jack's heart pounded. He remembered the restaurant, the diners staring, the waiter's too wide smile. It was all connected. But before he could think further, the hunters moved. Fast. Too fast. One lunged, arms stretching unnaturally. Jack threw himself aside. The creature's hand smashed into the wall, cracking brick. Lyra cried out, blue sparks flickering around her fingers. "Run," she shouted. Jack grabbed her arm, pulling her toward the back of the shop. They stumbled through the darkness as footsteps pounded behind them. Broken glass crunched under their shoes. A hunter leapt in front of them, blocking the way. Its skin rippled, part of its face peeling away to reveal slick gray flesh underneath. The thing hissed, sharp teeth glinting. Jack froze, fear choking him. But Lyra raised her glowing hands. Light burst from her palms, slamming into the hunter's chest. The creature screeched, stumbling back, smoke rising from its suit. But the blast drained her. She collapsed against Jack, weak. He caught her, his mind racing. She couldn't keep doing that. Another hunter closed in, faster this time. Jack's eyes darted around the shop. His gaze fell on a rusty metal pipe lying on the floor. He snatched it up, gripping it tight. The hunter lunged. Jack swung with all his strength. The pipe cracked against its face. Sparks flew. The creature staggered, its skin peeling to reveal more gray flesh beneath. But it didn't stop. It reached for him again, eyes burning like fire. Jack's arms ached, but he swung again. And again. The creature finally fell with a heavy crash, twitching. Jack stood over it, chest heaving. His hands shook, but he was still alive. "Jack," Lyra whispered weakly. "You can fight them. You must." He pulled her to her feet again, his mind screaming with questions. But there was no time. The tall hunter was still there, watching. He had not moved during the fight. Now he stepped forward slowly, his glowing eyes locked on Jack. "You are stronger than expected," the tall hunter said. "But strength will not save you. Humans always break." Jack's grip tightened on the pipe. "Then try me." The hunter tilted his head, almost curious. "You protect her. Why?" "She is not your kind. She will bring only death to your world." Jack's jaw tightened. "Maybe, but at least she asked for help. That's more human than you'll ever be." For the first time, the hunter's smile faded. His voice dropped, colder. "Then you have chosen your end." He raised one hand. The air trembled thick with unseen force. Windows shattered. Dust swirled like a storm. Jack staggered, holding Lyra close. His ears rang. Lyra clutched his arm, whispering urgently, "We cannot defeat him here. We must escape." Jack's eyes darted to the back wall. A door half broken hung open, leading into a dark alley. He tightened his grip on Lyra's hand. "Then let's go." They ran. The tall hunter did not chase at once. He only watched, his glowing eyes narrowing, his voice echoing softly. "Run, little human, run, you cannot hide forever." They burst out into the night again. The rain poured harder, washing blood and dust from Jack's skin. The city streets were almost empty now, quiet except for the distant hum of machines. Lyra's glow flickered weaker and weaker. Her body shook. Jack pulled her close as they moved, his eyes scanning every shadow. "Jack," she whispered, her voice faint, "they will not stop. The feast wants me, and if they catch me, Earth will be next." Jack looked at her, breathless, his chest tight. "Then we don't let them catch you. We fight." She stared at him, her silver eyes wide. "Why would you risk your life?" "You owe me nothing." Jack paused, gripping her shoulders. His voice was firm, almost angry. "Because you asked for help, and no one else listened." For a moment her eyes softened, shining with something deeper than fear. But before either could say more, the sound of engines filled the night. Black vehicles slid silently into the street, headlights off, windows dark. The hunters had arrived in force. Jack's stomach sank. They were surrounded. Lyra's hand tightened in his. Her voice was soft but steady. "Then this is where the real hunt begins." The night never seemed to end. Rain poured harder, streets shining like black glass. Jack pulled Lyra through narrow alleys, away from the silent black cars that hunted them. His arms ached, his legs felt heavy, but fear pushed him forward. Finally, they stopped behind an abandoned warehouse. Both of them gasped for breath. Jack leaned against the wall, heart racing. Lyra sank to the ground, her glow weak, almost gone. "They will not stop," she whispered. "They will follow us until I am taken, or until we destroy them." Jack wiped rain from his face. "Destroy them? With what?" "I've got a rusty pipe and you're about to faint." Her eyes lifted to his, steady despite her weakness. "Then we must find their nest. Cut the route. That restaurant, it is not only a door. It is their hub. Their heart." Jack froze. His mind replayed the night. The strange diners, the glowing food, the pod. A cold truth settled in his chest. "You mean the restaurant is their base?" "Yes," Lyra said. "And if we want to stop them, we must go back." Jack laughed, short and bitter. "Go back, that's suicide." Her voice was calm, unshaken. "Sometimes survival is not enough. Sometimes you must break the table before they eat the world." Jack stared at her. Something about her words, about the strange fire in her silver eyes, struck deep. He knew she was right. Running forever would not save them. He clenched his jaw. "All right, we go back." The streets were nearly empty as they approached the restaurant again. From a distance, it looked normal. Warm lights glowing, soft music drifting out. But now Jack saw the truth. The windows were too dark, the shadows inside too still. They crept around the side, slipping into a narrow service door. The hallway smelled of metal and smoke. Jack's skin prickled as he remembered sitting here only hours ago, thinking it was just a strange but fancy place. Now every step felt like trespassing on another world. They moved deeper. The kitchen was empty, its silver counters gleaming under faint lights. But something was wrong. There was no smell of food. No pots, no pans. Only machines. Metal tubes, blinking screens, cages hidden under tarps. Jack's stomach twisted. He lifted one tarp. Under it was a cage filled with bones. Human bones. Small, large, broken, piled high. His breath caught. He almost dropped the tarp. Lyra touched his arm gently. Her face was pale, but her eyes held no surprise. They feed in many ways. Jack swallowed hard, fighting the sickness rising in his throat. He forced himself forward. A narrow stairway led down into darkness. Faint humming echoed below, deep and unnatural. Lyra gripped his hand. They descended together. The basement stretched like a hidden world. It was no normal cellar. Walls glowed faint blue, covered in alien symbols that shifted and pulsed. Strange pods lined the floor, each one holding something alive. Shapes curled in metal shells, breathing slowly. Some looked human. Others did not. Jack's stomach turned again. His voice was a whisper. "What is this place?" Lyra's voice was heavy. The feast they harvest from many worlds. Store them. Trade them. Eat them, Jack shivered. He had thought he'd seen monsters. Now he realized he had only seen the surface. At the center of the basement stood a long table. Not wood, not stone. Something alive, black and glossy, pulsing faintly like it had veins. Plates rested on it, metal discs that seemed to breathe. Jack stared in horror. "They eat here?" "Yes," Lyra whispered. "It is not a restaurant. It is a market, and soon a slaughterhouse." Suddenly, a sound echoed through the chamber. A slow clap. Jack spun around, pipe ready in his hand. From the shadows, the waiter stepped out. His suit was perfect, his smile too wide, his eyes glowing faint. "Impressive," the waiter said, his voice smooth and mocking. "You returned." Most humans would be running in the opposite direction. Jack's grip tightened. "We're here to end this," the waiter chuckled softly. "End? Oh no, sir. You are not the end. You are the main course." Behind him, the pods hissed open. Shadows uncurled. Tall figures stepping out. Hunters, dozens of them, their glowing eyes fixed on Jack and Lyra. Jack's breath caught. He stepped closer to Lyra, ready to fight though he knew the odds. His heart pounded like thunder. The waiter's grin widened. "You see, sir, you were never the customer. You were always the meal." Lyra's glow brightened suddenly, her eyes burning like stars. She gripped Jack's hand. "Not tonight," she whispered. The room shook as her light spread, clashing with the shadows. The hunters hissed, their skin peeling under the glow. The living table trembled, veins writhing like worms. Jack held the pipe tighter, ready for war. His fear was still there, but now something stronger burned in him. For the first time in his life, he wasn't just surviving. He was fighting, and he wasn't alone. The basement shook with Lyra's light. Hunters hissed, their false skin burning, their shapes twisting. Jack swung the metal pipe with all his strength, striking the nearest one. It screeched and fell, but more replaced it. The waiter only smiled, calm in the storm. "So much fire, so much hope," he said softly. "But hope always ends on this table." Jack pulled Lyra close, guiding her toward the stairway. "We can't win here," he muttered. "We need help." She nodded weakly, her glow fading as the effort drained her. Together they fought their way out, dodging claws and sharp teeth. At last they stumbled onto the street again, rain washing blood and smoke from their skin. Jack's lungs burned. His body shook, but he kept moving, dragging Lyra through the night. His mind spun. He couldn't fight this war alone. He needed someone he could trust. Hours later, they reached a small apartment on the edge of the city. The lights were dim, the windows cracked, but it felt safer than the streets. Jack banged on the door. It opened to reveal a tired man in a worn jacket. His hair was messy, his eyes sharp with surprise. "Jack?" the man said. "It's the middle of the night." "What? No time," Jack cut in. "We need help. Please let us in." The man's name was Marcus, an old friend, someone Jack had once trusted with his life. They had worked together years ago, back when Jack believed the world was simple. Marcus's eyes narrowed at Lyra, who stood trembling in the doorway, glowing faintly like moonlight. "What is this, Jack? Some kind of trick?" Jack's voice cracked. "It's real, Marcus. I'll explain everything, just please." After a long pause, Marcus stepped aside. "All right, come in." Inside, Jack explained everything. The restaurant, the pod, the hunters, Lyra's warning. His words tumbled out fast, desperate. Marcus listened quietly, his face unreadable. Finally, Marcus sighed. "Jack, you've always had a wild imagination." "But this is insane." "It's not insane," Jack snapped. "You saw her. She's not human. Look at her." Lyra sat quietly on the couch, her hands folded, her silver eyes heavy with sadness. "He speaks the truth," she said softly. "Your world is in danger. If we do nothing, the feast will come. They will take everything." Marcus's jaw tightened. He rubbed his forehead, pacing. "All right. Let's say I believe you. What do you want from me?" Jack leaned forward. "We need weapons. A safe place, anything. You used to know people, contacts. You can help us." Marcus was silent for a long moment. Then he nodded. "Okay, I'll make a call. Stay here." Relief washed over Jack. He sat back, closing his eyes for the first time that night. Maybe they had a chance. Maybe they weren't alone anymore. But Lyra's gaze never left Marcus. Her silver eyes followed him as he stepped into the other room with his phone. She leaned closer to Jack, whispering, "Something is wrong." Jack frowned. "What do you mean?" Her voice trembled. His eyes. The way he looks at me. He is not surprised enough. He already knew. Jack's chest tightened. He wanted to argue, but deep down he felt it too. Marcus had been too calm, too controlled. Before Jack could move, Marcus returned. His expression was smooth, his tone casual. "Good news. I have a place we can take her. Somewhere safe. We should leave now." Jack stood slowly. "Where exactly?" Marcus smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "A warehouse on the east side." "Don't worry, Jack, you can trust me." Lyra's grip tightened on Jack's hand. Her whisper was sharp. "No. He serves them." Jack's heart sank. He saw it now. The faint glow in Marcus's eyes, hidden but there. The same glow as the hunters. He stepped back. "Marcus, what did you do?" Marcus's smile widened, too wide. "What I had to. Do you think you can fight the feast? No, Jack, you join them or you're eaten. I chose to serve. And you, my old friend, brought me exactly what they wanted." Jack's stomach turned. Rage burned hot in his chest. "You sold her out?" "You sold me out?" Marcus shrugged. "It's survival. And besides, she isn't one of us." Before Jack could react, the walls shook. The sound of engines filled the street outside. Shadows moved at the windows. The hunters had arrived. Marcus stepped back, his voice cold. "Thank you for the delivery, Jack. You did your part. Now it's over." The door burst open. Hunters poured inside, their glowing eyes fixed on Lyra. She cried out as they moved toward her. Jack swung the pipe, smashing the first one, but there were too many. Claws slashed across his arm. Pain seared hot. He staggered, bleeding. Marcus only watched, calm. "Don't fight, Jack. It's useless. Just let them take her." Jack roared with fury, swinging again, refusing to stop. "Over my dead body." But the hunters closed in. Lyra screamed as one seized her, dragging her toward the door. Jack fought, but his body failed. The pipe slipped from his hand. His knees hit the floor. "Jack!" Lyra cried, reaching for him. Her silver eyes were wide with fear, with pain. "Do not give up." He tried to stand. He tried to move. But the hunters were too strong. They pulled her away, her voice echoing in his ears, "Help me, Jack." And then she was gone, swallowed by the night. Jack lay bleeding on the floor, staring at Marcus. His old friend looked down at him with cold, glowing eyes. "You should have joined us," Marcus said softly. "Now you'll die with the rest of them." Jack's vision blurred. His body shook with rage and grief. He whispered through clenched teeth, "No, I'll get her back. I swear it." Then darkness closed in. The city was quiet when Jack opened his eyes again. His head pounded, his body ached, and blood dried sticky on his arm. He lay on the cold floor of Marcus's apartment, the silence broken only by the drip of rain through a broken window. Lyra was gone. Jack pushed himself up slowly. Every muscle screamed, but his heart burned hotter than the pain. He could still hear her voice in his mind. "Help me, Jack." He clenched his fists. He had failed once, but not again. He staggered to his feet. Marcus was gone, the hunters gone too. But they had left something behind. A symbol burned into the wall. A circle with jagged lines glowing faintly. Jack stared at it, his gut twisting. He remembered the basement of the restaurant. The living table, the pods, the hunters. That was where they would take her. That was where she would die unless he stopped it. Jack's jaw tightened. His voice was a whisper. "Then I'm coming for you, Lyra." Night bled into dawn as Jack prepared. He scavenged from Marcus's apartment. An old knife, a broken pistol with 2 bullets, and a flask of liquor that burned like fire in his throat. Not much, but it was something. He wrapped his arm with cloth, tightened it until the bleeding slowed. His reflection in the cracked mirror startled him. His face was pale, his eyes wild, his body shaking with exhaustion. But behind that broken man, something new burned, a fire that hadn't been there before. He whispered to his reflection, "You're not running anymore." By the time Jack reached the restaurant, the city was dark again. The building glowed faintly, alive with strange energy. The windows pulsed like veins. The door stood open, waiting. Jack tightened his grip on the knife. His breath came steady now. He stepped inside. The restaurant had changed. The tables were gone. In their place stretched a long black hall, walls alive with shifting symbols. Torches burned with green fire. The air smelled of ash and blood. At the far end of the hall he saw it. The feast, a massive chamber, filled with creatures from every shadow of the universe. Tall, thin beings with too many arms, crawling things with faces like melted wax, silent humans with glowing eyes, their skin too smooth. They filled the room, waiting, whispering. At the center stood the table, the living table. Its black surface pulsed like a beating heart. Veins crawled along the floor, feeding it. And on that table lay Lyra. She was bound by chains that glowed red-hot, her body trembling. Her silver eyes searched the crowd, filled with fear and fire. She called out, her voice weak but clear, "Jack!" He froze. Every eye turned toward him, 1,000 glowing stares. 1,000 whispers silenced at once. The waiter stepped forward, smiling wider than ever. "Welcome back, sir. You are just in time for the final course." Jack's hands tightened on the knife. His voice shook but carried through the hall. "Let her go, now." The waiter laughed, smooth and cold. "You think you matter? Look around you. You are one man. One fragile, broken man. And she—" He touched Lyra's face with long, pale fingers. "She is a feast that will keep us strong for centuries." Jack's rage boiled. He stepped forward, ignoring the whispers, ignoring the fear that clawed at his chest. "Then you'll choke on her, because I'm not letting you touch her." The room stirred. Hunters moved from the shadows, claws clicking against the floor. Jack raised the knife, heart pounding. He knew this could be his end. But if he had to die, he would die fighting. The first hunter lunged. Jack slashed with the knife, driving it deep into the creature's throat. Black liquid spilled. The hunter screeched and fell. Another rushed him. Jack fired the pistol. One bullet cracked through its skull. The body collapsed. The crowd hissed, furious. The waiter only clapped slowly. Impressive, but it changes nothing. Hunters surrounded him. Jack swung, stabbed, kicked. Pain ripped through his body as claws tore at his flesh, but he kept fighting, kept pushing forward. He could see Lyra on the table, her eyes wide with terror and hope. "Jack!" she cried. "Don't stop." He stumbled, blood dripping, vision fading. A hunter struck him hard, sending him crashing to the floor. His knife slid from his hand. The crowd roared with hunger. The waiter leaned over him, smiling. "This is the end, sir. The feast thanks you for your service." Jack gasped, struggling to rise. His body refused. His mind screamed. Was this really the end? And then the air changed. Light exploded. Blue, bright, blinding. Lyra's chains cracked, shattered. She rose from the table, her silver eyes burning like twin stars. Her whole body glowed, brighter than the torches, brighter than the room itself. The hunters shrieked, their skin peeling under the light. The crowd screamed, shielding their faces. The waiter's smile faltered for the first time. Lyra's voice filled the chamber, strong and fierce. "No more feast, not tonight." Her power burst outward, a wave of pure light. Hunters disintegrated into ash. The living table cracked, veins shriveling, black flesh burning. The creatures fled, shrieking in terror. Jack shielded his eyes, crawling to his knees. The light burned, but it felt warm, alive. When it faded, the chamber was in ruins. The table was broken, the hunters gone. Smoke filled the air. Lyra stood in the center, glowing faintly. Her body weak, but her eyes proud. She looked at Jack, tears in her silver gaze. "You came for me," she whispered. Jack staggered to his feet, every bone aching. He smiled through the pain. "Of course I did. I don't leave people on the table." The restaurant trembled. The walls cracked, symbols fading. The building was collapsing. Lyra stumbled and Jack caught her in his arms. Together they ran through the falling hall, through fire and smoke bursting into the cold night air. Behind them, the restaurant caved in on itself, vanishing into ash and silence. Jack looked at the ruins, his chest heaving. He had survived. He had saved her, but Lyra's words echoed in his ears, sharp and chilling. "This was only one feast, there are others, and they will come." Jack clenched his fists, staring at the sky. "Then let them come." Humanity isn't on the menu. The restaurant was gone. Its walls, its hunters, its black table, all reduced to ash and silence. Smoke drifted into the night sky, mixing with the rain. The streets were empty, but Jack knew the city was not safe. He leaned against the ruins, holding Lyra close. Her glow flickered weakly, like a candle fighting against the wind. "You did it," Jack whispered. His voice was hoarse, his body broken. "You saved us." Lyra shook her head gently. Her silver eyes were heavy with sorrow. "No, Jack, I only delayed them. The feast is endless. What we destroyed here, it was only one hall, one door among many. Jack's jaw tightened. He wanted to argue, to deny it, but deep down he knew she was right. The way the hunters had spoken, the way the waiter had smiled, it was too confident, too certain. The feast was bigger than one restaurant. Then we keep fighting, Jack said simply. His voice was tired but steady. Lyra studied him, her glowing eyes soft. You are only one man. Your people do not even know the danger. They sleep while shadows circle above them. How can you fight an enemy your world cannot see? Jack looked at the ruins. He remembered the bones in cages, the pods, the faces in the crowd. His stomach twisted with rage. He turned back to her, his voice firm. We don't need to see the whole enemy. We just need to see enough to punch back. And if they want a war, then they picked the wrong species. For the first time, a faint smile touched Lyra's lips. It was weak but real. They left the ruins before the sun rose. Jack carried her through the quiet streets, past neon signs and sleeping towers. No one noticed them. To the world, nothing had happened. But Jack felt the truth heavy in his chest. Everything had changed. They found shelter in an old train station, long abandoned. Dust covered the benches, rats scurried in the shadows. But it was hidden, safe enough for the moment. Jack lit a small fire in a rusted barrel. The flames cast long shadows on the cracked walls. Lyra sat beside him, her glow faint. She looked fragile now, almost human, but her silver eyes still held endless depth. Why did you save me? She asked softly. You could have run. You could have lived your life and forgotten me. Why risk everything? Jack stared into the fire. He thought of his empty apartment, his long days at work, his lonely dinners. He thought of the first time he saw her curled inside that pod, whispering, "Help me." He sighed. Because someone had to, and I was there. Lyra tilted her head, studying him. That is why humans are dangerous, she said quietly. You risk yourselves for reasons you cannot explain. You protect what is not yours. You fight even when hope is gone. The feast does not understand that. They never will. Jack glanced at her. Then that's our advantage. The fire crackled. For a moment there was peace, but it did not last. Lyra stiffened suddenly, her eyes flashing. She looked at the ceiling, at the sky beyond it. They are searching already. I can feel them. The feast will not forgive this. They will send more. Jack's fist tightened. He felt fear, yes, but also something else. Resolve. Then we get ready. We don't wait for them to set the table. We flip it first. Lyra looked at him with something close to awe. You would stand against them? You would fight the endless feast? Jack's smile was grim. Why not? Someone has to remind them. Humans don't go quietly. The first light of dawn crept through the broken windows. Lyra rose slowly, her glow faint but steady. She turned to Jack. If you stand with me, Jack, then Earth may have a chance. But we will need more allies, strength, knowledge. Jack stood beside her, shoulders straight despite the pain. Then we find them. We tell people the truth. And if no one listens, his eyes burned with fire, then we fight alone. Lyra's silver gaze softened. She placed her glowing hand on his chest. You are only human, Jack, but maybe that is enough. Outside, the city woke. Cars filled the streets, people hurried to work. Life moved as if nothing had happened. They did not see the battle fought in the shadows, the danger still circling above. Jack and Lyra walked among them, unnoticed. To everyone else, they were just another man and woman on the street. But Jack carried the weight of what he had seen, what he had chosen. He looked at the sky where the clouds were breaking, sunlight burning through. For a moment it was beautiful. But he saw more than light. He saw threats hidden in the stars, waiting, hungry, and he whispered to himself, We're ready now. Come and try. That night, far above Earth, something stirred. Shadows moved across the void, whispering in voices not meant for human ears. The feast had lost one hall, one meal. But the hunger remained. Their message spread through the dark. The humans resisted. And the answer came, cold and certain. Then the humans will be eaten last. Back on Earth, Jack sat with Lyra under the rising moon. He passed her the flask and she laughed softly for the first time, her silver eyes shining. It wasn't victory. Not yet, but it was hope, and sometimes hope was enough to start a war.